This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, we encourage you to like and share them on social media. Because right now, Nutrition World in downtown Fort Pierce presents Joanne's World of Nutrition. This week, with a trusted guest host, our old friend Dr. Ravi from Tradition Family Chiropractic. Good morning.
Good morning, Cliff.
Wow.
It's just you and I today.
Just us, huh?
Yes, Joanne is on a vacation, a well-deserved vacation.
Oh, you said the V word. Oh, my.
She deserves it.
I need to find a supplement that clears up the depression when I think about vacations.
She's got it in her store.
I'll bet she does, as a matter of fact. Okay.
Yes.
I'll have to check it out. So this week we have a special topic, right?
We do, and it's going to be on kids. So raising healthy kids.
Raising healthy kids.
Yes, but before we begin into that topic, let's go ahead and do Joanne's breathing exercise.
Can we do the whole, 45 minutes this time?
No.
Oh. But we could do it at home later if we want to.
Of course, which we encourage everyone to do every day.
Yeah.
Every stressful situation that they're in, they should be doing this.
But even just a couple minutes doing a routine like 3 times like the way we do it, even that is enough to get you started to a more balanced
relaxes the brain waves.
Yeah.
It changes your mood,
lowers
decreases
your blood
depression.
Decreases depression. Yeah.
And it's all free. So let's give it a try.
Yeah, and remember, 11 out of 10 medical professionals believe that breathing is very essential. Yeah, so
I think it is.
Yep. Some people we need to explain it to people though. 3 times we'll do this. 5 seconds in, hold it for 5, and then take 5 seconds to slowly release it
Through the nose.
Through the nose only, and we'll do this 3 times altogether. And don't close your eyes if you're driving in your car.
And make sure you're sitting upright and straight with your shoulders pulled back so you optimize that oxygen intake in your body.
And it pulls on all the muscles away from your face to not to inhibit your sinuses so that you can use your nostrils to do all this breathing exercise. Okay. All right. Are we ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's release everything first. And begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. 2, 3, 4, 5. Again in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. 2, 3, 4, 5. One more time in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Slowly release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. Well, I felt that all the way over here.
I know. Don't you love that euphoric effect right after?
Yeah, because it's like negative energy kind of leaves.
Released, yeah.
And one thing we don't want to unbalance our energies.
Exactly. So I recommend doing these exercises every morning right after you put your feet on the floor after you get off the bed. Mm-hmm. This sets your tone for the day.
Yeah.
Yep. And it definitely makes a huge difference.
Thursdays are always a little bit different after the 10 o'clock hour for me for some reason.
Well, maybe this exercise helped you there for a little bit.
Probably does.
Yes.
Most likely.
Yes. So again, with these exercises, talking about kids, with kids going back to school, I thought this would be a great, appropriate topic to bring in on the show, because with kids, their schedules are off track, but we always need to be reminded of what's really going on outside in the world when it comes to kids and their health. And so I'm going to share some of these statistics that I was able to pull off from the Journal of American Pediatric Associations website. And it's not to scare anyone, but to share with everyone that we have an issue.
Not to scare.
Not to scare.
But to care.
Exactly. And I'm going to give some great approaches on how to care for some of these scenarios.
There we go.
Okay. So it's estimated that 20 million children and adolescents have some form of chronic illness, And did you know this, Cliff? 40% of the kids say that it affects their self-esteem, how they interact with other kids, and how it impacts their daily activities.
Well, yeah, because
So-
kids can be pretty mean too in their little judgments.
They
and
can,
their
yeah, but definitely.
considerations, yeah.
Bullying, yep. So let's look at some of these statistics. Asthma affects 6.1 million kids. And so we're going to go down through what causes asthma in some of these kids. Diabetes impacts 210,000 kids a year. Obesity, 14.4 million. Attention deficit disorders, 6.1. Depression, 1.9 million.
Wow.
Anxiety, 4.4 million. And then we look at malnutrition, that's 13 million kids.
Wow.
And many of these that I just pulled off with these numbers are not curable, but they're able to overcome these issues.
Okay.
And so with this here, I'm a big believer, and we know that food is medicine. So I want to talk a little bit about nutrition to start this off with some of these illnesses. One thing with what we know is, and Joanne and I always talk about the sugar intake, and I'm going to talk about this because kids, as soon as they start eating sugar, this is starting an addictive component into their body. You know, sugar is as addictive to our body as cocaine is to a drug addict.
Yeah.
And so if we can control the amount of sugar that we're feeding our kids, grandkids, nieces, and nephews, we're actually going to help them grow healthier.
Either that or fund a bunch of brand new, sugar rehabs.
Sugar rehabs, yes. But there's no money in that, Cliff.
No. Oh, that's right. The money's in the sugar.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yes. So
that's not fair.
sugar consumption is actually increased over the last century, in individuals. The average adult, that eats the standard American diet consumes 71.14 grams of sugar per day. And that's estimated to be about 57 pounds of sugar a year for an adult.
Wow, but that's almost twice as much as like 4 Cokes a day.
Pretty much.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like-
And you know what's crazy is you look at some of these schools, the vending machines in these schools, what do they have? These sugary drinks.
Yeah.
So it's estimated that the average child consumes 30 gallons of sugary drinks per year.
Ooh.
And the scary part is that everyone and consumers are looking for answers because they're more aware of these issues what sugar's causing. And it's all a marketing ploy with the whole sugar-free, because then we look at the sugar-free issues and it's all fake sugar that's in these drinks.
Or no added sugar, they'll say. No added sugar. There's already plenty of sugar in it. Why add more?
Yeah, and one of the biggest component to this is sucralose. Sucralose is actually a fake sugar, like Splenda.
Wow.
And this actually increases your chances of becoming obese.
Wasn't it originally invented to kill ants?
To kill ants and rats.
Wow, so they eat this zero nutritional
No nutritional
substance,
value.
and they die from starvation, malnutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You also look at children and adolescents in America obtain 16% of their total caloric intake from added sugars. So calories from sugar are called empty calories since they provide no nutritional value. Unfortunately, what they do is create toxicity issues in our
If
bodies.
the big word on the ingredients has an OSE on the end of it, it's probably some kind of hidden name for
Bad
sugar.
sugar, yeah. Over 100 different names of sugars. So I encourage everyone who has any interaction with kids, teachers, grandparents, nieces, aunts and uncles, grandparents, once again, look at the ingredients. Turn over the label and look on ingredients and see what that ingredient holds.
Oh, yeah.
If it ends in OSE, it's a sugar. Definitely want to stay away from like things that have high fructose corn syrup, which is definitely one of the more known names, but this is creating a lot of hyperactivity in our kids.
I noticed I came in before the morning show was finished the other day, and there was a little box of cereal, and it was Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. And
Oh, man.
now, as a child, I remember it being.
I used to eat
Kellogg's
those.
Sugar Frosted Flakes. They were great.
Yeah.
But sugar,
Tony the Tiger.
if they take the word sugar out of a product, does that mean they've taken any sugar out of it?
No, they're probably adding the fake sugar.
Probably.
Yeah. And what concerns me about this is we're giving these kids these sugary substances in the morning. They go to school with this in their body, and they don't know how to displace their energy because they're not getting any recess time.
Ooh.
They're not getting any outdoor activity time. So what do? They start annoying their other classmates.
Uh-oh.
They start giving their teachers a hard time.
Ooh.
And what do the teachers do? They complain to their parents about their activities,
But
their
then they come
attention.
They come home from school and they aggravate the heck out of their parents and their grandparents.
Yes. And so the parents, they don't know what to do, or where to turn. So they go to their doctor. And what do the doctors do? Put them on a medication.
Wow, that's the answer to everything.
That's the answer to everything.
Yikes. When take a little sugar out of the diet, might not need anything.
Yep, and this is why food is medicine, right?
Yeah,
and
okay.
so talking about this, we need sugar actually, with the whole pandemic issue that's going on, and we're now seeing this new variant affecting a lot of the kids. If you want your kids to stay healthy, grandkids, nieces and nephews to stay healthy, you want to make sure that you're strengthening their immune system to prevent these issues. And one thing to do is just cut those sugars, or be aware of the sugar intake. Supplementing or taking out that sugar that you would normally use, the table sugar, and using something like monk fruit or stevia. And I know kids, like in my practice, that have a hard time getting used to that. But once they break through that issue of this new sugar in their diet, they get used to it and they're able to accept it a little easier in their food. So one thing with the whole 13 million kids being affected by malnutrition, I'm going to go through the top 3 macronutrients that we want to make sure we're supplementing and getting our kids eating, because we all know they're not getting the best of the best quality foods in school. So we want to make sure that they're eating properly before they go to school. And if they're not a morning eater, making sure that when they come home or for dinner, they're getting rich nutrient foods.
The good thing about the schools is they are aware and they're constantly working on ways of
they're
making the
revamping
nutritional-
things.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
constantly
So this
going
is
on,
great.
so-
However, when kids have an opportunity to buy their foods and their drinks
trade
from their
pie
vending
for-
machines.
they could trade their dessert, or they could trade something for another dessert.
Yes.
The bartering thing still goes on today in the lunchroom at school. Yeah.
Yeah, so parents, you want to encourage your kids to, if they're trading, to trade for the right things and choosing the right lunch menus at school, making sure that they're not putting too much of their dessert on their tray, or they're choosing and eating their healthy carb intake. And so when we look at this, we want to make sure that you're helping them choose a well-balanced, nutrient-dense foods. Mm-hmm. So let's look at fats. Fats are very essential for our body, especially for the growing minds, for kids that are going through puberty. Their bodies are growing. We want to supply this growth and their brain health. And so how we're going to do that is getting a lot of variety of healthy fats. So having them munch and snack on nuts, like almond nuts, macadamia nuts, pistachios. Yes.
My favorite.
And eliminating all damaged fats. So making sure that when you're making your meals at home for dinner, that you're not utilizing hydrogenated oils.
Ooh, yeah.
Vegetable oils, get rid of that. Implement things like coconut oil, avocado oil, that's going to be safe for cooking and that don't turn rancid. That's not going to create a low immune response in the body.
Great additional taste to a salad too, coconut oil.
Oh, yes. Yep. Yep. And be aware that you don't want to cook with olive oil. I've always had patients and everyone concerned about this is when we cook with olive oil, it turns rancid. So this is a great oil that you want to just sprinkle right on top of the salad, on
Right.
top of the rice or whatever whatever meal that you have.
Because it's a good oil.
It is a really
it's
good
not
oil.
Like margarine, which is basically plastic.
Yes.
You know?
And if you want to do a cool science experiment with your kids at home, what you can do is you can lay out some butter, I can't believe it's butter, in the garage floor, and put some natural butter like Irish gold butter in the garage on the garage floor next to it, and you'll see a lot of the ants will go for the more natural
Oh.
whole food butter compared to the margarine.
And the butter will kind of melt on a typical Florida day.
Exactly.
Even
Yeah.
in the garage, yeah.
Yeah, but the ants will go right for that natural butter. Reason why, it's full with healthy fats, and
Yeah.
these animals,
These have tiny little brains that need food too.
exactly, they're smarter than some individuals.
Yeah. How is it with some insects? You know, we can't get rid of them. We're worried about our own selves being exterminated by global warming and things.
Yes.
But some of the insects here in Florida, you can't kill them off. They're survivors. They're major survivors.
yeah.
They're eating the right foods.
They are,
For
yes. Yep. And they adapt well to everything that they go through.
Yeah.
And so do we. We adapt well. We just need to create some changes, especially in today's era that we're in. Let's look at some of the next macronutrient, which is protein. So protein, we want to make sure that we're selecting organic and naturally raised animal sources, like our eggs that we're choosing, making sure that they're free-range eggs. They're not in a farm that is being pushed with chickens that have antibiotics in
Right.
them.
And also, the stuff that causes them to lay more eggs, more hormones.
More hormones, yes. And when we internalize that, especially with kids that are going through puberty, we see a lot of different issues, growth concerns. So we want to make sure we're not getting an increased amount of antibiotics or growth hormones that
That were intended for something else. not
exactly,
us.
yeah. We want to make sure that we're eliminating meats and fish that contain antibiotics, once again, hormones and colors. So, a lot of industries are aware of these issues. So we just need to read and we just need to look into these things a little closer. So not only looking at the front of the package, but also on the back of the package, making sure it's all natural. Then last one, macronutrient, is carbohydrates. Carbs. Everyone has this bad connotation of carbs. They're not good for you, but it's important that we consume carbs.
It's also important that we don't consume too many bad carbs.
Too many bad carbs. So there's good and bad carbs.
Right.
You know the good carbs, right, Cliff?
Let me see. Well, the carbohydrates, not the white bread.
Exactly. That's a bad one.
That's a bad one.
That's a bad one.
Now, I like rye bread.
Rye bread is great.
Very good.
Steel cut oats are going to be
Oats,
great.
oatmeal,
So quinoa is going to be great. A lot of the vegetables. So carrots, broccoli, spinach. These are healthy carbs.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of fiber in it, especially the green leafy ones. What we do see and what I see with kids is that they're not eating a lot of their green leafy vegetables. And so this causes a lot of fiber issues in their body, leading to constipation and malabsorption. So we want to make sure that our kids are getting proper amounts of green foods
When
in
I
their
was a
diet.
kid, I didn't like broccoli until I discovered cheese
Cheese.
on the broccoli.
Okay.
I
Pair
got
them well together.
I got accustomed to the hot peppers that same way.
Yeah.
Got to like them. But then again, you gotta eat the good stuff. You gotta watch out for the bad carbs. And they, what about potatoes? They're a good roughage, but not necessarily. Starch turns to sugar and hydrochloric acid.
So
gotta-
you want to be particular about the potatoes. So not saying that they're bad for you, not saying don't eat them. You eat them in moderation, not every night with dinner. You want to also having different selections of potatoes, sweet potatoes, the purple potatoes, the russet potatoes. There's not a lot of nutrients that hold in the potatoes, minus the sweet potatoes. huge in beta carotene, which is really essential for eye health.
And don't throw away the peels.
Yes, you can resoil that, and
You resoil it. Of course, I've even, well, I shouldn't say this on a nutritional show, but I've made
Tell me.
homemade potato chips with potato peelings
oh,
because I heard they were okay and good for you. So another thing that they've tricked us over the years about is eggs.
eggs, yeah.
Eggs are healthier now than
Eggs
they were.
are healthy, yes.
3 a day is what I heard. It's like almost like owning a nutrition store. You know?
You know, the choline, the vitamin Bs that are in eggs, very essential for our bodies to thrive well. The study that everyone knows about having and causing cardiac disease and cholesterol
Right,
issues
yeah.
is flawed. And so definitely eating the right type of eggs
Yeah.
is the free range ones are going to be more
Ooh.
beneficial for you.
Emu eggs. How about that? That's a
Emu eggs, I've never had that.
the size of the omelet there would take up half this area.
And so if anyone has any questions on any nutrition questions, give us a call, 340-1590. I'm going to be here to answer those along with any other chiropractic questions you may have.
What I was going to
Now-
say was being a chiropractor, you're very aware of the nutritional benefits and necessities of humans.
Yeah, because one of the our office is a little different here, Cliff. So we're more of a lifestyle office,
Okay.
and so many of the things that we consume, the things that we think, the activities that we do daily, the exposure that we come into contact daily, has a tremendous amount of effect on our body and the way it heals. So what happens here, Cliff, is when we're not eating properly, when we have negative thoughts, when we're consuming or breathing in bad air, when we're not drinking the right water, it can cause a lot of misalignments or stress on our body. And so one fun thing I get to do is not only focus on chiropractic, but teach and talk about nutritional changes, looking at our toxicity component, looking at how we're thinking and decreasing or getting more energy in our body. Because what we know here, Cliff, is with kids, it's essential for them to get activity. It's essential for them to get exercise.
They're going to run anyway. You tell them slow. We spend the first 4 years teaching them to walk and talk, and then the next 12 years trying to teach them to shut up and sit down.
Yes. Yes. All right. So we have a question from Robert.
Hey, Robert.
Hi, good morning, Doctor.
Hi, Robert.
Good morning, Cliff. Hi, how are you?
Hey.
I have a question, Doctor, about sugar alcohols. You kind of touched on it a little bit. What's the biggest difference? Obviously, they try to make it seem like the sugar alcohols are more healthy or are an alternative to sugar. But the more I look into it, it seems like the sugar alcohols, you got all these other problems with them. What would you recommend about that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I'm not a big fan for sugar alcohols. One reason why is it can cause a lot of disruption in the gut microbiome. So the environment in the gut health. I would use those things in moderation, but definitely sticking towards stevia, monk fruit. So like the sorbitol, erythritol, there's some great effects when it comes to oral health. As far as decreasing cavities. So if your toothbrush, toothpaste, or gum, making sure you can consume these things that have the sugar alcohol, but things to put into your body if you ever experience any type of digestive discomfort, I would stay away from. So more stevia, monk fruit, coconut palm sugar, these are going to be more beneficial for cooking and putting into your foods.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for calling in. So with going back to the exercise component with kids, kids are meant to play, to have fun, to expend their energy, because what we know today is that they're not getting that access. They're not getting that activity. And so playing outside actually increases their social development, social interaction with other kids.
Yeah.
Our bodies need to be outside to get the sunshine to generate a vitamin. You know that vitamin D, what that vitamin is? I just said it.
It comes from the sun.
Yeah,
Vitamin
vitamin
D.
D. Yes, yes, and that's critical for many different processes in the body.
How many different vitamin Ds are there? I know there are several of the B that include complex Bs.
Yes, so there's D2, there's cholecalciferol. There's a whole plethora of different types of vitamin Ds. The best source is from the outside environment. Also, what we know is even for older individuals, adults, we're not getting outside enough. So
I've discovered that recently. Funny you should mention that. I spent the weekend outside in the sun working.
Oh, good.
Which I haven't been able to do for years because I had hip problems and had hip replacement and all that.
Well, that's great, Cliff, because you got now a lot of vitamin D in your body. Hopefully it just stays and absorbs pretty well.
It was amazing because, I usually have some kind of aches and pains almost all the time. And then I noticed in the last few days, because last weekend I really did it. If it's a stress test, that's what I did.
Well, you know what? When you're outside working, whether you're doing some activity gardening or whatever it is, or like our kids playing outside, what that really does, it helps to maintain a healthy weight, but also to strengthen muscles and bones.
Yeah, and you
so
feel
that's possibly
good.
what happened to you is you strengthen your muscles that were weak.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens because when it all heals, it all packs back in there where it was when the original bone was there before the titanium went in.
Okay.
But it's a whole lot easier now.
Good.
And I'm thinking about doing
So making
some
this a
more.
weekly activity for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you know what also it does, exercise, it helps to increase your quality of sleep.
Yes. So we don't have to take the PM acetaminophen
Medication.
Taclocal,
Yeah, because our body was never designed with a lack of this medication,
No,
right?
I've never had any trouble with it at all most of my life so far.
Also, Cliff, exercise encourages healthy bone development for kids that are growing. So we want to make sure that they're getting out playing. Even for our older adults, it prevents osteoporosis, which is a condition that is when the bones break down at a faster rate, and it creates more of a fragile event to the body. So they're more prone to breaks and fractures.
They have growth plates, too. The youngsters have to get that nutrition right because the growth plates are important. If they have breaks in their growth plates...
Oh, yeah, it can affect development. It can affect how they're growing.
Life,
yeah. And it can create a lot of things that I see in my practice with the kids, which is scoliosis.
Oh, yes, scoliosis.
Yes. Yep.
Sometimes it runs in the family, but sometimes it's from an accident or something that happened when they were a child, and their backs kind of has an S shape.
An S shape, and that's what I fix.
Yes.
Yeah, and we get a lot of correction with that. The next half of the show, I'm going to go through why parents need to bring their kids to a chiropractor, or why they should see a chiropractor.
Okay. And when we come back, we'll have a call.
Awesome. I look forward to that call.
Back in just about a minute and a half or so, you're listening to Joanne's World of Nutrition, hosted today by Dr. Ravi, a chiropractor from Tradition Family Chiropractic. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Dr. Ravi at Tradition Family Chiropractic. We are dedicated to serving you and your family with integrity, compassion, and innovative care through the most advanced chiropractic care ever in chiropractic history, encouraging your health and your family's health to its maximum potential on a regular basis. Call us today at 772-345-0060 or schedule online at traditionhealth.com for your free consultation.
Hi, this is Joanne from Nutrition World, hoping that you visit my store and wellness center. We have incorporated cutting-edge services to help you feel better. Check out my online store at joannesnutritionworld.com. Really great deals and free shipping over $50. I am really hoping that all my listeners are taking time right now to get fresh air, to get exercise into their daily routine, keep hydrated, and get the proper amount of sleep. It's critical right now that attitude is everything. To please take time to laugh, to give yourself a break. You can find Nutrition World right on US 1 in Fort Pierce, across from Fort Pierce City Hall, in between Orange Avenue and Avenue A. Our phone number is 772-464-3598. Call me with any questions or concerns. All my best, Joanne.
Joanne's Nutrition World, now open from 10 to 4, Monday through Saturday. Call 464-3598.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Good morning, everyone. It's Dr. Ravi flying solo today while Joanne is on an amazing vacation. We wish her well, and I hope she stays safe.
I wonder where she went.
I wonder. We'll hear about it next week.
Okay.
She'll tell us about it.
Yeah.
And I'm with my practice, Tradition Family Chiropractic, where we believe that everyone deserves to live a healthy life naturally through chiropractic and holistic care that comes from nutrition, limiting toxicity, having a good mindset, and exercising. And we have a special call in from David. So let's go ahead and see what David has a question on.
Good morning, Dr. Robbie.
Good morning, David.
Question, I have been diagnosed with carpal tunnel in both wrists, and my daughter-in-law suggested that I should try a chiropractor before surgery. What's your opinion on that?
I'm a big believer in that. I've seen many patients that have carpal tunnel issues, and the fact that it's bilateral tells me a little more. That could definitely be a nerve. Well, we know it is a nerve issue. That could be stemming from the cervical spine, which is the neck area. Here, David, the nerves in the neck go right down into the arms, into the fingers. And what happens is when that nerve becomes pinched in different areas, it can cause numbness and tingling sensations. It can cause pain in the wrists. And, there's different ways you can handle that. One is probably what you looked into, which is surgery. Unfortunately, with surgery, it does take time to recover. And oftentimes you're looking at other issues down the road. It doesn't really address the root cause of the issue. Now, when it comes to what I do in my specialty of being a chiropractor, we look at the structure of the spine. We look at where that impingement is coming from, and we gently remove that stress off that nerve, allowing the body to function the way it's designed to, and without any type of cutting, any type of those issues, and doesn't require any type of recovery time. So it's something that is more of a conservative type of therapy, which I always recommend exhausting all those avenues before you go into a surgical matter.
Well, that sounds like a good alternative to me.
I think it is. You have nothing to lose. When you go through surgery, and anyone goes through surgery, your body never works the same. And it takes some time to get it to get back where it needs to.
And physical therapy might be required too, where you'd have to learn to use those muscles again all over again from surgery.
And oftentimes, we do pair, David, with the with carpal tunnel. What I find really successful with my patients is their type of adjustment that I do, but also giving them exercises that they would do at home to keep those muscles intact and relaxing the tendon, the sheath that often becomes very tight due to the nerve interference. So it's something I would suggest checking out. And it wouldn't hurt to come in for a free consultation to my office, and I'll give you that number. That number is 772.
Hold on just a second.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry about that.
So anyone that's listening, I'm going to give my number. You can text if you have any questions about the show or any health questions in general. That
I'm ready.
That number is 772-345-0060. And if you're wanting a free consultation or you just want to come in to get an exam done, you can text that number and just say that you're interested in coming in for a visit with us at my office, and our staff will get right back with you to get you on the schedule.
Okay, great. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. No problem, David. Looking forward to helping you, and I'll see you in the office soon.
All right. Thank you, and I enjoy your show.
No problem. Have a great one.
You too.
340-1590 if you have a question for Dr. Ravi.
Yeah, I'm here for the next 20 minutes.
Now, coming up after this show, they have Dr. Tread Razacker with the Slim Body Laser Spa. And
he's an awesome guy.
He's got a cute slogan, the weight is over. The play with words, like WEIGHT or
The wait is
WAIT. The wait is over. The wait for the wait is over. For procrastinators, of course.
So the next half of this show, what I want to go into is I just answered a question on chiropractic and carpal tunnel, but
That's right.
I'm going to talk about 10 reasons why parents need to take or should take their children, to see a chiropractor. Now, when you're choosing a chiropractor, you want to be very selective and do your research. You want to make sure your chiropractor that you do choose has experience with children. There's all different types of chiropractors out there, just like there are different types of medical doctors out there. One thing that we do focus on in our practice is more of a lifestyle approach, and I am certified by the International Children Pediatric Association for chiropractic. So one of the top 10 reasons I'm going to go through here. So the first one is to encourage good neuroplasticity. And this is basically brain and nerve development. You know, Cliff, every day when we learn something, right, we're actually growing brain cells.
Right, we're input data into the hard drive.
Exactly. And so this is actually there to stay forever when that happens.
Okay.
That's the same thing that holds truth with chiropractic is when you get an adjustment, you're actually firing nerve impulses to different areas of the brain. So this is going to help to build neural pathways for kids. The second is encouraging to support child's overall health and well-being. You know, a body that is not moving well doesn't function well. And so when we're getting the body to move well, they're able to heal and function well. And so getting great adjustments will help to improve the well-being of a child.
Well, yeah, you'll feel better, not have little aches and pains.
Exactly. We're going to go on to number 3 right after we take this call from Bill.
Okay, Bill, you're on with Dr. Ravi.
Hey, Dr. Robbie.
Hey,
How are
Bill.
you doing today?
I am great.
I got a question for you. On August 7th, I had a tug-of-war with my severely autistic daughter.
Oh,
And
yes.
I came out on the losing end. And I had a head injury, neck injury, it was about 270 degrees, and shoulder injury and tailbone. And so far, when the paramedics came, they said, oh, it's just superficial. My head wound's cleaned up, my neck is not bothering me, my shoulders is not bothering me, but my tailbone is, when I sit down, I need to have a cushion.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure. I'm getting ready to try to get another doctor, but I thought, since I heard you on the program, to give you a call and see what you thought about it.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that you're going through that, and there's nothing more stressful than, you know, taking care of an individual that is autistic and not knowing not knowing the impulses that come right afterwards. So definitely we need to get you taken care of so that you can continue to take care of her and make sure that you're safe as well. But what is happening here is, you know, this is a traumatic event to your body. And whether it's a break, a fracture, or I don't know what's going on, but it's something that we need to take a look at. And the fact that it's since August 7th, definitely act on it quick. So if there's anything that is fractured, broken, that you're able to get that corrected in a good manner. Oftentimes here, Bill, is simple traumas. I'm not saying this is simple. It does not sound like it was simple, but this can lead to a lot of different stresses on your body. And so we want to make sure that your alignment is well and that there's no pressure on the nerves that are able to communicate with other muscle cells and tissues. So I definitely would recommend coming into the office. We do take digital x-rays. Just to make sure everything is safe and the alignment, and that helps me determine exactly what type of care you're going to need. Where am I going to be adjusting? What things are unleveled? Where are we going to get things in the proper position? Definitely concerned for the sacrum or your tailbone. Oftentimes that's a very thin-like projection, and you know, falling can often misalign that bone, and your hips are your foundation. So when that is off, it's going to definitely irritate that pin-like projection, that tailbone area, not allowing you to sit well. So we've got some great hacks on how you can, you know, position yourself while your body's healing. So I definitely also would recommend coming into the office to get fully evaluated. I would, just knowing there's some trauma, I would definitely recommend getting some x-rays done, and we do all that for you as well.
Okay. What's your number?
My number is 772-345-0060.
0060. Hey, I'm remembering
Zero
that
zero
one already.
60?
Correct. Yes, Bill. All right. And you can text us at that number, and my staff will go ahead and call you with for an appointment.
All right.
I look forward to seeing you.
It's like on a pain level of maybe 3 to 5, depending on how I'm moving around and things like that. I could do almost anything, but very slowly.
All right. Well, don't wait for it to get too bad, because then the healing process just takes longer.
Okay.
Alrighty.
I appreciate your time.
No
Dr.
problem. Thanks for calling in. I look forward to seeing you.
Okay. Have a great day.
You
Thank
too. And now to number 3 with 10 reasons why parents take their kids to my office.
Oh, okay.
Is to help strengthen their immunity and potentially reduce the number of colds, earaches, and general illness. I have a huge success rate with the ear infections with little infants. What happens here, Cliff, is when babies are feeding, when they're, especially with mom breastfeeding, their air canal, it's not positioned properly. And that can cause a lot of bacterial buildup in their ear canals, leading to ear infections. This also leads to muscle spasms in the cervical spine or the neck. And so a gentle adjustment to a child is, it's just as like feeling if a tomato has ripened. That's as much pressure you need to put on the spine. Right. A gentle adjustment like that helps to alleviate stress on that muscle and allow that body to drain any type of bacterial infection and fluid from buildup. Number 4, it's to assist with colic and irritable baby syndrome. Babies can't tell you they're in pain. And it's so cool when I'm adjusting children in my office and I have some older adults and they're wondering, why am I adjusting kids? Yeah. It's a great teaching moment for
to hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the truth is the kids, they can't, even babies, they can't tell you they're in pain. So how do they address or how do they show their symptoms?
They keep crying.
They keep crying. Yep. They fuss. They don't eat. And so when we get pressure off that nerve, they're a relief, just like we are when we're have an ache or a pain. We're in agony. We don't have the best mood or temper. The same thing for the kid. They don't have the best mood, so they cry. And once we get pressure off their nervous system, they start functioning better once again. To help with asthma, breathing difficulties, and allergies. One of the big statistics that I just shared at the beginning is that asthma impacts 6.1 million kids. And so what happens here with asthma is it's a lung issue. So adjustments right at that mid-back region for kids and growing up helps to open up the lung area, allowing them to breathe better. So helping them filter out toxins that they're getting inundated with daily. Allergies as well. Simple adjustments right at the C2 area helps the sinuses to work better, to flush out areas of concern. And my favorite one here is to encourage good spinal posture. It's crazy. Right now we're doing a lot of school physicals in the office, and you'll parents would say, oh, all they've been checked with is having them touch their toes, and if there's a little squiggly line or their shoulders higher on one side, they have scoliosis. We do more in a depth look, and so with chiropractic, we encourage a healthy spine and posture by addressing the root issues if a child has scoliosis. And we know with scoliosis, the S-like curve in the spine actually takes 14 years off of your life because of how it compresses organs. Oh. So it's something that you definitely want to look into, as many children are never in pain.
Sometimes a person lived their whole life with the scoliosis, but if their shoulders are straight, well, the surgeons don't want to mess with them, but chiropractors can sometimes help out.
Yeah, we'll address the issue. Yeah, we'll straighten that spine out.
One thing that somebody out there might realize that if they do a lot of coughing, that there's the ribs that go into your
Vertebra, the spine.
vertebrae. Well, one can pop out from coughing, and it needs to be pushed back into place.
And you're going to know if you have poor posture or poor spinal alignment if that is constantly happening. There is nothing worse than having it's pretty bad when you have a rib out and when you cough.
Oh, yeah.
Very painful.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely having a chiropractor on your
Always
on
have
your
a
phone.
chiropractor do it. Don't let your buddy who saw somebody do it on a movie one time, don't let them try to do
no.
that because you can get your neck broke that way.
You'll get a damaged spine.
Yeah, people who are not chiropractors, chiropractors are trained to know exactly how every bone is supposed to be, and they know how to manipulate them professionally. And you don't want to do this if you're not a professional. You see a real chiropractor like Dr. Ravi.
Yes.
He can, and with children, they're a little delicate compared to the adults.
Through the adult, yeah.
A whole lot easier, and you probably have that gentle touch that's just right for the pediatric portion of chiropractic practice that you do.
Yes. And along with the good posture, with kids sitting at their school tables, their desks, they tend to hunch over.
Yep.
This decreases their lung capacity. So just adjusting and getting them in their proper position helps to improve their lung capacity as well and brain oxygen component. Along with that, it helps to improve the child's ability to concentrate. So, getting more oxygen to the brain allows for more input as well and remembrance of things, staying focused.
That relaxed breathing through the nostrils that we do beginning of every one of Joanne's shows.
Yes.
Is something that you can teach the kids.
To do right in school, right before they take an exam. Very beneficial.
Yeah.
And number 8, to assist with behavioral disorders. This is one of the greatest ones. And, with Bill, who just called in, having that attack from his daughter being autistic. With behavioral disorders, I see quite a few autistic individuals who respond really well to chiropractic care and decreasing their ability to having spontaneous outputs. So, it's definitely beneficial for those individuals who have an imbalance of their parasympathetic and their sympathetic nervous system. So it helps to increase and to help with behavioral disorders. What I always tell my kids and my parents that I see in the office is that anytime their kids are misbehaving, they need an attitude adjustment. Bring them in.
Yeah, and it might be the form of an alignment,
Exactly. They need an attitude adjustment. Number 9 is to help alleviate digestive problems. Yes. It's crazy when I, sit down with a patient and go through their health history and find out they're not having a bowel movement every day. They're having bowel movements every 3 to 4 days.
Ooh.
That is not normal.
No. And an alignment might be necessary for that.
Exactly. And, when we get pressure off the L3, which is the L3 vertebra, you have 33 different vertebra in your spine that keeps you upright and straight. When that L3, the lumbar, the lower back, vertebra number 3 is off, that often leads to digestive problems. And when we get pressure off those nerves, your nerve can communicate to the organ to have a bowel movement effectively. So there's so many times I'll have a patient that will say, doc, I actually had a really good bowel movement, or, I was able to release gas, and they've never had that ability in the past.
Oh, that's gonna hurt.
Yes,
that could be quite painful.
But it's really great because having bowel movements, you want to have daily to get out toxins.
Yeah.
When you don't have a bowel movement, it actually increases toxins throughout your body.
Now, when you're fasting with just water, that all those poisons come out of you through the water, through your urination system. So,
yes.
So that's where it always comes back to water.
Water.
Because water's amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
70% of your body's made up of water.
Yeah, we'll have to do something on water one of these days because actually you can change the molecular structure of the water by speaking to it.
Speaking badly to it, yes.
If you speak badly to it, you're going to give it negative input. And it's going to give you negative when you drink it, so you talk good to it. And you know what that reminds me of? I thought, it'd be just as easy to make your own holy water because you speak to the water and you cause it to give you a positive impact.
Yes. Yeah. And number 10, the last one here, is to help assist with bedwetting and sleep issues.
Oh, I grew up with younger brothers, and I won't tell you what we had to go through, but one of them was a bedwetter till he was about 12. And it was like,
Your mom never took him to the chiropractor, did she?
well, we didn't know about chiropractors
Oh,
back
man.
then.
Yeah, so the sacrum, the bone above the tailbone, when that one is misaligned, that leads to a lot of urinary issues. So urinary incontinence with our pediatric population. So we definitely want to adjust those areas, get
Right.
pressure.
Because if it's anything else besides the need of an adjustment, it's probably something that you need to talk to a medical doctor about.
Yes, and I've actually had a few of those one of those cases where it was actually more deep involved, and so this is great with our partnerships within and working with some medical doctors.
I'll bet for the most part, though, the little adjustment probably does wonders.
Yeah.
And you work with these kids. Does the pain like go out of their faces as soon as they're adjusted? And how do they react? That's got to be amazing.
They laugh.
Do they?
Yes.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't hurt.
Yes.
And that's a great way of expressing.
And some get really tense because if it's their first time, but we walk them through the whole process so they're not, we have fun little stickers, tattoos in the office, some games that they play before they would get adjusted. So it's definitely safe for them.
And kids are always worried about they might have to get a shot because they're going into a doctor's office. Well, chiropractic doctors don't give shots.
We don't do shots.
They don't do shots.
Nope. We actually boost the immune system naturally.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing. And how long has chiropractic been around on the earth?
So back in 1896, D.D. Palmer delivered the first chiropractic adjustment to someone who was deaf. And after that first adjustment, Cliff, Harvey regained his hearing.
Wow.
He had slight hearing back in his ear. And so that's when chiropractic first started, was back in 1896.
Perhaps that's where the hands-on miracle thing started.
Yes. Chiro means hands.
Okay.
Yeah. And practice is practice.
The practice of using your hands for healing.
Yes. So when you go to your chiropractor, make sure your chiropractor is using their hands to adjust you.
Right.
Oftentimes, there are patients that have osteoporosis
Yeah.
because they don't have good exercise routine or just really bad bone mineralization. So that's when I would use a tool or equipment to help adjust their spine in doing so. But 95% of the time, I'm using my hands to adjust the spine, which in our community, that is, a lot of chiropractors use different types of tools. But the best way is sticking by the history of chiropractic, and that's
I think
by
my
hands.
favorite toy in your toy box would be the TENS unit.
To relax the muscles. Yes. So if anyone has any questions or concerns or comments, wants to know more about chiropractic, or even with healthy kids, we believe that healthy kids grow to be healthy adults.
Well, they are our future. They might as well be healthy.
They are, exactly.
Yeah.
And you can give us a text. That number is 772-345-0060. And I will be sure to answer those if you have any questions, comments, or any types of concerns.
They want to come to your office. They go to Tradition. Where do they find your office?
Yes, my office is in Tradition. It's right in the Target Plaza across the street from McDonald's. Don't go to McDonald's. Come to me.
Or if you're just
chiropractor.
coming out of McDonald's, you might need to go over to the chiropractor.
Yes.
Well, Dr. Robbie, we thank you for sitting in on behalf of Joanne this morning on
Well,
Joanne's
it was
World.
great. And thanks for having me, Cliff.
I'd like to thank the callers.
Yes.
They always make a show
Love the
exciting.
questions.
Alrighty, until next time, Dr. Robbie, thanks for being with us again.
Have a great day, everyone.
And this is WPSL, Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast, webcasted to the world on Google Home, Alexa, and the TuneIn app on your smartphone.